Happy Saturday. I'm Ken Sterling, and this is Sports Media 101. You know, there's some things that you need to be able to do, and you need to be able to do them consistently in order to be a success in sports media, whether it's on the radio, on TV, in print, podcasting, all of those forms, all of those media, you need to do the same things. The principles are the same, whatever the form. And we're going to talk about two of the principles today. The last couple of weeks, we've sort of gone into others, and now we're going to get into performance a little bit. All right, and two basic tenets of performance are these. You need to start strong. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about lessons that can be learned from the improvisational greats at Second City that can inform what you do, how you do it, and make it more enjoyable both for you and for the audience. All right, how do you start a segment? This is where a lot of people get goofed up. They start with kind of that exposition. They introduce who they are, and then they talk about what they're going to talk about, and then they talk about what they have been talking about, and they don't get to the meat of the deal for a while, for a couple of minutes in some cases. In fact, today, listening to Sports Talk Radio, I heard an entire segment of a guy doing nothing but exposition and calling back to what he did, calling ahead to what he was going to do, and what can be done to kind of monetize what his endeavor is. I'm not going to talk about specifically what it is. He's a terrific broadcaster, but holy cow, there's got to be some meat on the bones or people are not going to listen. So here's what you do. And this goes back to the great Steve Reynolds. And I texted back and forth with Steve Reynolds last week because I evoked one of his great lessons about the four basics of media and those things you need to be. And I'm going to call back a little bit in that you have to be authentic, you have to be relevant, you have to have fun, and you have to be innovative. Well, another one of Steve Reynolds' tenets is that you need to start strong. And he puts it a little bit differently. He equates it to porn. Nobody watches porn for the pizza delivery guy coming to the door and ringing the doorbell. That's not what they're watching for. So just get straight to the action is what he's saying. And he uses that as a parallel to explain what radio hosts, TV hosts, people in print, people doing podcasts need to do. You've had, if you're on the radio or if you're on whatever medium you're on, if you have people who listen to you or watch you and they watch through a break and you tease, right? You execute a tease like, hey, coming up, we're going to tell you why Jim Irsay needs to recede into the background of the Indianapolis Colts or this entire organization is going to wobble off its wheels. That's a good tease. I'm going to remember that for next time. But that's a good tease. And then when you come out of the break, and by the way, never call it a break on the air. You do not want your listeners or viewers taking a break from listening. You get to take a break as commercials play. They're not taking a break. You don't want them to take a break. So we don't talk about taking a break because if we talk about taking a break, they're going to think about taking a break, and we don't want that. So when you come out of the break, we'll call it a stop set. When you come out of the stop set, you need to pay off the tease immediately. That's what you do. That's what Steve Reynolds is talking about when he equates it to porn. You have got to get to the action right now. There's no waiting. There's no exposition. Hey, we're here, blah, 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 blah. I'm this guy and he's that guy or that woman and we're talking about... No. You just start. And then if you want to do a little exposition on the back end, go ahead. But when you start a segment, start strong. And stay strong as long as you can. That's what you do. Every single segment, deliver on the tease immediately. And you're going to find, this is kind of inside baseball, but you're going to find that your time spent listening per occasion goes up. Because the listener doesn't feel disenfranchised, doesn't have his or her trust violated by what you have done in providing endless exposition when teasing, you promised something on the other end. You got to keep track of that. And if you're a producer, you have to help your talent keep track of that. With 15 seconds left in the stop set, you say, hey, remember, your tease was ... Give the tease to the talent. The talent remembers to pay off the tees. That's the way a good producer operates. Okay. The second thing you need to do is trust those with whom you work and trust your audience and trust yourself. The first thing you learn at Second City, I spent 3 years there, and the first thing you learn is to embrace the initiative. Always embrace the initiative. All initiations must be accepted. If somebody says, hey, whatever they say, you have to accept that as fact. That is the reality of the scene from the moment that somebody says that it is. And it can be you. What is Second City? Second City is an improvisational training place in performance space that has been used as a launching pad for people like Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi and Mike Nichols, Elaine May, Tina Fey, Amy Poehler. The list goes on and on and on. And what it is a really interesting theology of theater. That's what Second City is about, getting up on stage and writing as well as performing, just kind of spur of the moment, understanding that interesting creative initiatives can come from people who are doing it. But you've got to do it correctly and you've got to know the rules. And one of the rules is accept all initiations. Radio is improvisation. That's what radio is. So if you've got a 2-person show, a 3-person show, if you got a 1-person show, you're going to have in your own mind as a solo host, you're going to have this thing that tells you, no, don't go there. Don't listen to it. Always go there. Wherever you're headed, go there. Allow yourself to go there. Don't be profane because the FCC doesn't like that and your listeners don't like that. But go there. Trust yourself. Trust those with whom you work if you work with others. But make sure that you take that initiation, develop it, and move to something that's kind of creative. And when we talk about being innovative, that's kind of the innovation, is allowing yourself to be innovative within a specific segment. That's critical. That's key. And it's fun for the listener because they hear the energy of it. If you don't know exactly what's going to happen, the difference in performance between reading and just going, baby, is enormous. You get great energy when you trust and you deliver and you perform, and there's very little energy when you read the words, because reading words is kind of a boring, tedious exercise. So don't write for yourself. You can write notes. That's okay. But don't read them once the show starts. If you want to write as part of your preparation, that's cool. But don't read them. Perform. Your job is to perform, and your job is to be the best version of you can be, and your job is to be creative and have a great time and trust that you're going to be able to deliver on the promise and really bring your audience, because they like you. If they didn't like you, they wouldn't listen to you. They wouldn't watch you. So trust them to come along with you on this little journey. If you've got a 3-hour show, you've probably got 9 segments, the way clocks work now in radio. So if you're on this little journey of 9 segments that become an entire show, trust that the audience is going to come along with you and enjoy that. And by enjoying that yourself, they're going to enjoy it with you. All right. I'm Ken Sterling. That's Sports Media 101. We'll be back next week, and we'll talk more about sports media. What I want to do through this is help you be better and help you enjoy it more. Have a great rest of the weekend.